Hi guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today's topic for you guys is get comfortable with making people uncomfortable. So I just wrapped up the video of how being too nice is not cute. But I just want to touch on something that I actually said in that video. I'll link it up above my head basically. And becoming comfortable with making people uncomfortable is a skill that is quite hard to do, especially as a woman. Again, we're so thought to be agreeable that making people uncomfortable is something that we can't even bear or imagine. But I just want you to think about some of the most successful business owners or white successful people or just men in general. They will allow somebody to sit in uncomfortable silence in order to further prove their point. You cannot wager at that, because then you want to have this reinforced, figure of your authority without coming off too abrasive. And it's almost like, when people talk about like dark femininity and they tell you like, know how to tap into that dark side. I haven't researched the topic of dark femininity, so I don't want to, butcher it. But when I look at the yin and yang symbol, because I love using this analogy, there's a dot of each color in the other. So the masculine has a touch of feminine, the feminine has a touch of masculine in order to understand each other very well. I think it is crucial for you to tap into that one dot and be very head on. Be very forward with people. Be very defensive. Hold eye contact. Squeeze a damn hand back, okay? It doesn't make you masculine. It just makes you stern. It makes you respectable. It makes you stand taller. You're not having to fake confidence when you believe that you can make people uncomfortable because of what you stand for. Again, that goes with the whole thing of not being agreeable. Something that I had to also unlearn in my early 20s. So this is very recent. But people only respect you when you have an actual opinion. They don't, as much as people like you to think, the only people that tend to be memorable in other people's mind are people that were combative against their point. People that, not combative is not the right word, that were stern about their point of view, that articulated themselves very well, that didn't let emotion get the best of them, but they still stood for their point and they still respected yours. When I said you don't have to always be agreeable and it's okay to make people uncomfortable, making people uncomfortable isn't always a negative thing. It's just forcing people to think outside of their bubble. If we're discussing a topic and it's leading into a debate and you don't necessarily agree with my point and I'm still head on about my point and you're still head on, you'll see that you'll have different type of reactions. You'll have somebody that'll be intrigued with the fact that you're debating them on a point and you're sitting here talking to them, you're explaining, you're articulating how you feel. You're also letting them know like, listen, I understand what you're saying, but I'm just telling you my truth and your truth. Two things can be true simultaneously, and that's completely okay. And then you'll have some people who will start to pick at you emotionally. And those are usually the people that realize that you're making them uncomfortable, so they try to retaliate the uncomfortability that you're handing them, but in an emotional route. So they'll start throwing little picks at you. They'll start throwing shots. Sorry, I was thinking. Throwing little shots at you, and you're sitting here, and the more composed you are, the more stern you are, the more, I don't want to say fear, but the more hesitant they are to continue in disrespecting you. Because now they understand that I have somebody across from me that isn't being rage baited. They're not taking the bait on me making them angry. They're not showing me their emotional state. They're not, all over the place. They're not raising their voice. I like to disengage when I meet people like that. To not argue back. That is something I had to learn from home, but I mean in every African household you kind of like pick that up. But it is imperative that you learn how to disengage when you feel like somebody is simply arguing with you to get an emotional reaction out of you, whereas trying to understand your point. So you make people uncomfortable with the silence that you give them after you realize that they're no longer worth your time. I have had arguments with coworkers, let's just say, and I've debated them, and once I get to a point where I no longer could get to you, like you can't understand what I'm giving out, and I'm talking to you respectfully, and you're just spinning around the block. Even it doesn't even take much. You don't have to even be disrespectful. The moment I feel like you're playing stupid, disengage. And in that moment, I just go quiet. And I just let you talk, because the more a person hears themselves, the more they realize, oh my God, this person is not retaliating. I kind of sound stupid. Like, why are they not saying anything? And then they'll keep rambling on. They keep rambling on until one point, like, they'll just shut up, and then they'll just start thinking about the whole debate over and over in their head. They'll come to their own common sense at their own time. You have just now made a person, in parentheses, uncomfortable, because you realize you told them without using words, your stupidity isn't worth my time. So whenever you're ready to tap back into your intelligence, you let me know, baby. Okay? You let me know. Anything it could work with anything, like, but it has to be this thing where you really, really, really reinforce that uncomfortability. Because in my other video, I said that I don't like when people make me uncomfortable and then they're comfortable. You don't get to sit in your comfortability when you've made me uncomfortable, so we'll both be uncomfortable. Hence comes the wanting to be very straightforward with this person, telling them like, hey, you're not going to talk to me like that. Absolutely not. And you're not going to bully me. I would just like to preference by saying that I am not just talking, because I've been like this for a while, but it really got reinforced in my early 20s. I already used to make, remarks to teachers that would talk to me crazy, because, again, in Europe, if you don't do that, you'll get walked all over. I had a certain situation just to kind of like place the uncomfortability. Calling somebody out on something that they're acting like never happened is a way that you let the person know, I'm not stupid, but I'm open to a conversation, hence why I'm bringing it up. I had a teacher, and every year in our high school back then, we had to give a certain amount during that year. I wasn't a part of that association, so I didn't give the money. They started going around classes telling people, guys, please pinch in, please pinch in, please pinch in. And I told them I had already told a student I'm not a part of the association. So when the teacher sat down and she started calling out the names of the people who didn't pay, and she said my name, I responded back and said, why would I pay when I am not a part of the association? That has nothing to do with me. In the beginning, when we had the documents, you guys asked a simple question on the documents. Do you want to participate? Yes or no? And I wrote no. So why are y'all making me go back on my decision when you guys clearly asked a yes or no question? This was not obligatory. This was literally a question, a proposition, to be fair. And I remember the whole class going quiet, and then the teacher was like, no, but yeah, you're right. And da-da-da-da. You felt like it was okay at that moment. And I don't mean it in the sense of like she probably thought that, she wanted to bully me in front of that was not her intent. She was a very sweet teacher. But in that moment, she unknowingly made me and the other people that she called out uncomfortable, because we're getting called out in front of 25 other people about not making a payment. So I made you uncomfortable back, so then we could both bathe in our uncomfortability, so you can understand I am matching you where you matched me. And that's it. So that's all I had to say for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you love the video, please share it to somebody that you feel like should hear it. And if that person is you, then share it to you. Please don't forget to comment your opinion on this, because I didn't fully develop because my mind is like shutting off on me. But if you guys have, you know, experiences or just opinions on this video, please don't be scared to comment. And I'll see you guys in the next videos. Bye, my loves.